What's up? I wanted to make this quick live because I genuinely had the question, where did all these posts come from? Why is everybody blacking out? And I wanted to know, because it's not something that I feel that I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it. And I notice a lot of people doing it. And I was thinking, why are all these people doing it? And part of that was, I'm thinking, did other people just see posts of other people blacking out and then they decided, oh, I better do this as well, or otherwise, I might get called out. I don't understand why people are doing it. And so I wanted to look into the origins of okay, where did this come from? Because it just seemed really interesting to me that this entire past week was really loud. A lot of noise was made. And then all of a sudden, everyone's going silent. You got this loud just to go silent? Doesn't really make sense to me. So I looked into the origins of where this came from. And I was seeing that it reminded me a lot of a story of Edward Bernays. If you don't know who Edward Bernays is, he was a nephew of Sigmund Freud. There's his name, yeah. The psychologist, famous psychologist. But Edward Bernays was famous for really changing marketing, in a grand scale, manipulating masses of people. And one story from Edward Bernays that really interests me, and you'll see why I'm explaining it in a second, but there's a story about how the tobacco industry wanted to reach more people. And they didn't know how. They just knew that, they wanted to somehow get more people to start smoking. And so they came to Edward Bernays and he said, oh, well, look, you're missing out on half the market. Women don't smoke. You got to get women to start smoking. And they said, how do we do that? And he said, oh, well, why don't you, I've got a plan. And what he did was he talked to a few people and he got them to go out and meet with some women under the guise of, hey, we're doing something good for women, right? We're going to help women to get their voices heard. And then what he did was he had these women go meet with other women, and those women started telling them, hey, you know what we're going to do? We've got this great plan. We're going to light a torch in the name of freedom. And we're going to smoke on the steps of the church in New York on Fifth Ave right after Sunday service, right after Easter Sunday. It'll send a message throughout the world. And those women liked that idea, and they thought, wow, that's so cool. Let's do that. Let's get together. Let's do that. And then they started telling other women at other churches, hey, we're going to meet up here. We're all going to do this, right? And they said, yeah, they agreed. And so on Easter Sunday, these women came out, they lit their cigarettes, and they said, we're lighting a torch for freedom for women. And then they started going down and walking down Fifth Ave, and when they got to the next church, more women came out who were conspiring with them, and they started doing the same. And when this all happened, they were getting photographed because during that time, Easter Sunday was a big deal. Coming out of the church, everybody wanted to see what you were wearing, etc. And so they knew they were going to be photographed by the paper. Plus, Edward Bernays set it up so that the paper was looking out for them. And so then this message spread far and wide very rapidly. And before you know it, women were buying cigarettes, calling them torches for freedom, using this specific language, all of them. And they had all been duped so to speak, into smoking, which was something that society thought before was like, no, women just don't smoke. It's not cool. And now all of a sudden, there was a reason for them to smoke, for their freedom. So, if you don't know exactly where this movement originated from, it might be something that you want to question if you just jumped on. That's all my thoughts.